Hello, hello. This is going to be a 20 Brackenhide from the perspective of a bear, a guardian druid. I'm mainly making this video and hopefully more videos like this um, really as a general guide for how to tank in pugs. So, pugs, you kind of have to assume that the important kicks are maybe going to be on you. The important CC is maybe going to be on you. People aren't necessarily going to handle all your pulls in the best way. They're not going to follow your route in the best way. So, as the tank, you have a ton of influence to do things in a way that sets up the group to make fewer mistakes. So, you want to try to make pulls and go a route that is very unlikely for somebody to screw it up. You know, if you're trying to just barely squeeze by some packs that you don't pull the pack. Well, in a pug, oftentimes somebody's not going to do it properly and they're going to end up pulling stuff, and so maybe trying to do that squeeze isn't the best idea in that pug. Things like that. And also, like, you can't rely on people to get important interrupts and important CC. So you have to do your best to get those yourself or do something to set up the group so that they're going to get them. One example of that is if there's a pull with like two enemies and both of them need to be kicked and you can only handle one of them because they can't be CC'd, then you might want to mark one of the targets as skull. That's more likely to draw the attention of the DPS to that target, and then you main target the non-skull. And then you just hope that one of the DPS gets Skull's kick and you get the other kick. Stuff like that. Really good habits. So we'll see. I honestly haven't played my bear in a couple weeks, but I am quite familiar with Brackenhide, so hopefully it goes well enough. And I guess I'll give you a quick peek into my talents, but this really isn't centered around a bear video. This is just centered around general tanking in pugs. Yeah, this is a 20, but I'm going to try to tank it as if, you know, this route and these strategies and stuff should still apply no matter what key level you're in. Maybe not for like the super high keys, you know, 25s and stuff, but you shouldn't be pugging those anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and not take the poison talent. It's not going to be important in here. I even have a weak core that's telling me that I have a talent that I don't need. This week's affixes are, let me start eating food. Entangling, bursting. So entangling, I don't think there's much that I can really do as bear because I can't shapeshift out. I won't concern myself too much with it. Let's go ahead and take stampeding roar, and then what else do I want? Maybe this DPS one. That looks good. Pop a flask just to increase our chances of succeeding. I do run double tank trinket, which a lot of people don't do or don't advise. In my opinion, your job as the tank is to keep aggro and keep yourself alive. Yes, I could run my Harlan's loaded dice and do a little extra damage, and yes, that could be important, but really my group needs me to survive and hold threat, and these two trinkets give me the best chance of surviving. It is tyrannical. What, am I missing anything? Do I need to... No, I got... Alright, I think we're good here. Oh wait, I didn't pop a flask. I'll pop a flask. I am also alchemist, so I'll try to open up any of the... I'll tell them to. I'm alch. I can open the code. Grab. Anything else worth noting here? I'll just pop Berserk right at the end of this countdown, so I get a free incarn. All right, this first pull, pretty much everybody does it the same way. It's going to be a double pull. I can do the soothe because I'm a druid, so I'm always going to main target the War Scourge dude. I'll get the soothe, and then I'll make sure that I'm still on him. So I'll generate a little early threat on these guys. Pop some kind of a defensive. I'm going to pop one of my trinkets now just to really help myself survive. And now I'm just going ham, and I'm main targeting this War Scourge. He's going to do his Rage Storm soon. I'm going to be ready to soothe that, which I just did. And now in 10 seconds, he is going to do his fear. So I'm ready to kick his fear. There's nothing else that's really needs to be kicked. All right. Looks like other people. So this is bursting. We're going to get kind of slapped here. Oh, we do have a priest. I forgot about that. That's really helpful. I didn't even pay attention to that. All right. That pull is done. I probably should have given them a second to open that gate. That's my bad. I'm going to pop one of my defensive trinkets again. And soothing that. And now I'm getting ready to kick his fear whenever that comes out. My timer says 8 seconds, but I think that last one popped a little earlier than the timer said, so we'll see. There it is. Yeah, it was a little bit early there, but that's okay. When these vicious claw mangles go out, I should have mentioned that, and I should have been paying more attention. When vicious claw mangle goes out, I can do my in-cap roar to stop them. So there's a vicious claw mangle. It got stunned, so I'm not going to worry about it. There's another one, but these enemies are basically dead. Here's another soothe for me. And you see our bursting stacks are getting pretty high, but our priest is on it. That's good. Great to see. Great to see. Normally I like to pull this guy into this group, but the timing didn't really work out super well there. So you can get a quick kick on this. Maybe I'll try it. So I kicked that guy. So usually you want your group to be able to get that withering burst. That's the only other important kick in this whole area is the fear, obviously, and then the vicious or withering burst. But nobody in our group got that one. That's unfortunate. But that's pugs. They cannot be CC'd. So there's another withering burst. Hopefully somebody kicks it. Nobody's kicking it. Yeah. So that's just pug mentality right there. And unfortunately, the fear to me is way more important. Although you could argue that the fear is more likely that somebody else will get it. But it's not a risk that I'm willing to take. I am going to pull this. I'll generate a bitter threat on it. The hunter's not going to come right away, so I'm going to make sure to get at least 2 stacks of thrash before I move. And then I'll move into this one. I'm going to pop my incarn. I'm going to pull some of these guys in here too. Just get some extra percent. So there's a vicious claw mangle. Oh wait, there's a second one. Now I'm going to incap. And I'm going to soothe this. There's another vicious claw mangle coming up. I think I'll knock him away just to buy us more time, and I'll kick that. We do have a frost mage in the group, which helps for slows and kiting and stuff like that. So when they do their vicious claw mangle, which is a fixate on somebody, they're a little bit slower to get to them, which helps quite a bit. I will start this next pull. Pop bark skin as I'm going in. I do have some one of my trinkets ready, but I don't think this pull really needs it. I'm gonna pop frenzied regen here. The only guy to kick in this pull is the mystic. He doesn't really have anything important to kick really, so you can just grab any. There's a vicious claw mangle. Nice. The other druid got the incap roar. I've been thinking about pulling this group. Maybe I'll do it. I'm going to throw out a little bit of healing here. I did lose my rage by doing this, but that's okay. I didn't lose all my rage. Do you not lose your rage? That's weird. So I don't normally pull this, but I'm going to try it. You can see I got Guardian Spirited here. I'll take it. Not sure what people are getting shredded by, to be honest, but kind of suspicious of what's going on here with people dying. But maybe maybe this pull just has a lot of like random target damage or something from the hunters or hyenas. I don't know. I don't normally pull this, but I haven't done too much Brackenhide since they changed the lashers. They had a change where the summoned lashers later on in the dungeon no longer give percent, and so you need a lot more percent because you can't bank on those ones. Alright, so maybe this wasn't the pull. Maybe the hunter's doing some like big time AoE stuff, so that's probably my bad. Maybe I shouldn't do this pull ever. I'm going to look at the healer's mana. He's still got pretty good mana. We're good here. Make sure you avoid this guy. I'm going to pull this guy into this pack. going to get a quick... Oh, no, it's like I got it for me. I'm going to pop one of my defensive trinkets. And again, I'm just main targeting. I'm going to pull the group close to the totem so that people's cleave just naturally gets the totem. Either Soothe, I should have been quicker on that Soothe, that's my bad. So this is another group where there's a Withering Burst from the speakers. And again, so there it is right there. Nobody's getting it, and that's just unfortunate. Like I want to make sure that we definitely don't let a fear get off. That's my priority. But ideally the group would have somebody, and that's something I can say at the start. I can say, hey, look, can I trust somebody to either get every single one of the fears, or can I trust somebody to get every single one of the Withering Bursts? If you can have somebody that's going to take personal responsibility on that kind of stuff, it can help quite a bit. I'm going to pull these guys in. Again, this is not what I used to do. This isn't a route that I used to do, or not a pull that I used to do, sorry. But with the changes to percent, I think I'm going to do it. I would have liked to have gotten this Pat in here too. I'll in-cap roar that Vicious Claw Mangle. But I think we're gonna avoid it if we get out of there in time. Looks like we should be fine. And the healer, you can see I got some healer mana. He's starting to drink. That's good. All right, let's do this. So this pull, I'm gonna defensive trinket early on with Bark Skin. This pull has two of the fighters are the guys who do the Vicious Claw Mangle, the fixate. They do it pretty much at the exact same time, so I'm just gonna wait until they both do it. All right, there's one, there's the second. I will in-cap roar that. I get both of them, and they're just taken care of. So that's maybe something I should have called out as more of an emphasis on these pulls is the Vicious Claw Mangle. You definitely, especially as a bear, you have a lot in your toolkit to get rid of it. Actually, not a lot, sorry. I guess I have War Stomp and then in-cap roar, but in-cap roar is really strong for it. So as soon as you see one of them get cast, feel free to in-cap roar and stop it. Or if there's multiple in the group, try to wait until they've both casted it. Sometimes there's a slight overlap to them, so you see the first one start getting cast, you wait a little bit and try to catch the second one. All right, let's get ourselves situated here. This is tyrannical, so this is going to be the hardest fight in the dungeon, although it was just nerfed earlier this week by about 25%, so we should be okay. Let's main target Trick Totem. Normally, I like to main target. So I kicked right away, which probably wasn't the play, because now my kick is not going to be up for this heal. Hopefully somebody gets it. Come on, somebody. Okay, so nobody got that heal. That's really unfortunate. Again, I just kicked an Earth Bolt. I really shouldn't be doing that. I should be just saving my kick for the heal. So as the tank, if you get the Bladestorm on you, just tank it. Just keep them close and tank it. You can handle it. If it's on somebody else, try to keep the other enemies kind of close to it for maximum cleave. But yeah, definitely don't be scared of standing in the Bladestorm as the tank. All right, so try to get some early damage on the totem before the totem's always out before you get. Oh, let me get out of this real quick, and then get that heal. Pop a defensive to soak this charge. Here's Gash Frenzy again, and I have a heal ready, an AoE heal, so hopefully I can help out the group a bit. I think I will get the B-Res out. So these guys get they get bonus haste when based on people's missing health, and so a dead one of us means that they kind of have like permanent haste from their like full missing health. And so B-Reses are fairly important on this fight. This is kind of free at this point now that we've gotten Trick Totem down. All right, it's on me, so I'll just stand still, just so it's predictable for all the other melee. And it looks like I'm getting CC'd right away, probably. Right here, but the healer can dispel me immediately. Thank you. And I'll get in front of this charge. And I'll pop my defensive trinket, one of them. Cool. Alright, so probably could have handled that a bit better. I should have been kicking all of the heals You would think that the group would also be pretty prioritized on kicking the heal, especially because we're main targeting Trick Totem, but that's okay. All right, healer's mana is good. I'm going to pull this. Now, this area is an area that a lot of people handle differently than I do. I find that a lot of people end up going... I'm going to just generate a little bit of early threat here. I don't want to pull out too much because the Frozen Orb is out. With the Frost Mage, you don't want to be like pulling too much. But I did want to pull this guy. And a lot of people go left here. I really don't like going left. I think it's just, you're way more likely to have a really chaotic pull. So I'm going to pull the Necrotic Breath. So Necrotic Breath on these big trees, it is dodgeable, but people don't usually try to dodge it just because it is also kickable. So I usually try to main target them and kick them. Now the problem is that on some of these pulls, you get these Rot Singers, and they do a Withering Burst type of cast, similar to the earlier ones. And those are a really high priority kick as well. So I'm not sure what should be a higher priority as the tank and a pug. So here's the Rot Singer. So there's a Necrotic Breath. Hopefully somebody gets it. Nice, somebody got it. So I'm going to main target this Rot Singer. He's summoning a totem. This totem, killing it quickly is really important, so I'm going to bring the pack towards it so that we get really easy cleave. Somebody kicked the Rot Singer, so that was nice. The Rot Singer, he does the disease that's like contagious and puts the circle around you. So kicking that is really, really nice. And this group is done. Go ahead and pull into the next. I'm going to double pull this one. I like how liberal the I'm gonna pop one of my defensive trinkets here. I'm gonna say I like how liberal the healer is being with his Guardian Spirit. I'm getting Guardian Spirited a lot, which just gives me a lot of extra healing. So there's the Necrotic Breath. That's the only thing I'm gonna worry about kicking on this pull. And just trying to do a bunch of AoE threat and just my normal rotation, which is really simple based on the way that I build Bear right now. Although that's going to change in the next patch, which is next week. So I'm going to wait and open this up. Looks like I can do it mid-combat, so that's good. And I'll grab one of these. So this is going to be helpful for the next pull. I'm going to pull this. This is going to be a double with both, again, a Rot Singer and a Oak Dude. So here's the totem. Let's move the group close to the totem for cleaves. And burst, I kicked that burst. Now let's just hope that somebody gets the breath. Nobody got the breath, and that just killed 2 people. So yeah, there's pug stuff. So there's 2, like I said, 2 important casts here. This Fetid Rot Singer, he's got like Withering Burst or Burst of Decay or something like that. That's important to kick. And then the Wild Oaks, they have the breath. So there's the breath. Nobody's getting it, so I guess I'll get it, which means I'm not going to be able to get the next thing. And here's the Withering Totem. And oh god, so I'm going to pop a defensive here, one of my trinkets. So I'm trying to bring it close enough for us to be cleaving this, but people don't seem to be. So Necrotic Breath, I kicked that. Did I kick it? I don't know. No, I didn't. I most over the wrong thing, I guess. That's my bad. We're still not killing this totem. Maybe I should be main targeting the totem. Watch out for the burst. Here's another totem, but this guy's going to die first. When he dies, the totem's going to disappear, so it's not important. So you see the totem just stops. And let me focus the healer. I guess I'll innervate him now. I should have been innervating him, but I didn't have him focused earlier. Okay, there's the breath. I'll kick that. This is a pull where I probably should have, so somebody marked it with star. I probably should have marked it with like skull at the very beginning of the pull, or the Rot Singer, depending on which one I wanted other people to kick. There's really only 2 kicks, but unfortunately neither of them can be CC'd, so I can't solo it. Normally if there's like a kick and something you can CC, you can solo it as a tank. Healer's drinking still, so I'll just give him a sec before I go and pull really heavy. That is the healer, right? And he is drinking. His mana is going up fast. Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and pull. So I'm going to mark this one as skull. Someone marked it as I think someone's got an add-on that's like automatically marking things, which I really don't like those add-ons. Sure, it makes sense if you're like in a group of friends and you're in Discord and you can like call like, oh, I got circle or whatever. But if it's just a pug, then those icons just become completely meaningless. Like there's literally no meaning to them. So they're just confusing, if anything. But give one of them skull and then I fight the non-skull. That's a good habit that I should have been using on the earlier polls. And you can generally hope that skull means that other people are going to be on skull and ready to interrupt it. Problem is sometimes they make the assumption that, oh, the tank's going to be on skull, so I'll make sure to kick the non-skull. All right, healer's mana is good. Let's go ahead and pull. All right, so this fight, there's this thing that just, it barely does any damage. You don't even need to pop a defensive for. The important thing is kicking these slimes. So I'm going to position close to them. As soon as they start their cast, I'm going to in-cap roar them. It's right there. I'm going to in-cap roar that. Now, I have both in-cap roar and... oh, I should have asked somebody to... Alright, so this one I'm going to get with Typhoon. There you go. So just the key here is make sure that you use your AoE CC after they've started casting. Don't use it too early, because then when they finish being CC, they're just going to start their cast right after. So here it is again. I'll have in-cap roar for this one. So luckily for me, I have the two that I can just rotate between in-cap roar and as a bear. Oh, I screwed it up there. As a bear, you can use your Skull Bash to like get back as soon as you get knocked back by his Vine Whip. Alright, so hopefully the Pally lets himself get eaten here for me. And, okay, nice. Thank you to the mage. Alright, let's get ready to kick to... Alright, I used my Typhoon to stop their cast there. I actually tried to use my in-cap roar, but it wasn't off cooldown yet. But it should be off cooldown now. It is, yes. So I'll get this next one with in-cap roar. So I'm assuming that people know the boss mechanic, the eating boss mechanic here. But basically, when you get consumed, someone has to get consumed. If nobody gets consumed, then the boss will enrage. So somebody has to let themselves get sucked in and get consumed. But when you do get consumed, you get a debuff on you that lasts like a minute. That makes it so that you take extra damage from future consumes. So you need to rotate. You need somebody to take the second one for you, and then you can take the third. So as tank, you can take 1, 3, 5, etc. If you're a Pally, you could take the second as well and just bubble it. But not everybody's a Pally. So you can see I'm getting eaten again. I popped one of my defensive trinkets, and I'm barely taking any damage. So what do I have? I have both. I'm going to Typhoon this one, even though I have both of them. Get some threat, and then get ready to in-cap roar this one. So I'll in-cap roar that one. Alright, boss is basically dead. I'll start moving him towards the exit. And I'm going to Stampeding Roar right after. This pull is kind of annoying based on his pat timing. I'm just going to come over here and get this. Get these guys out. So I like to fight these guys on the other side, the first side of the bridge, and the main reason for that is because when they start getting low health, then they try to run away. And I don't want them running away. Nice, okay. I'm not really sure how that guy died to the Stink Breath. Probably a combination of like the poison at a similar time as the Stink Breath. So I'm pulling them over here so that when these guys go to run away, they're not running close to enemies over here that are then gonna social pull. I've had that happen enough. You could use something like a stun or Assault's Vortex. It did, you know, these deaths, maybe not the first one. The first one might have just been bad luck. The second one, you could argue that I made it harder for our team by pulling over there and then pulling back. It messes with their positioning. These people don't realize that the release point is like literally right there, but that's okay. Looks like we got both people resing. All right, so come up here. If you don't pull this invis group, make sure you come up this way. Otherwise, somebody might pull it. And I pull that group, A, because we need more %, and B, because I don't want somebody to accidentally pull the invis group if they don't realize that it's there. So this group here, you never want to pull it during a fort week, especially on a high key. On a tyrannical week, we're okay on %. I think I will pull it. Nah, let's not pull it. We already waited anyways. So make sure that you jump up here and cross the bridge there. That way you're less likely to pull. And my group is coming up behind. I'm just going to make sure that they don't pull any of the birds. If they do, then I'll grab them. Looks like we did. No, I'm just going to pull the... I tried pulling the birds, but I wasn't even in range of them, so whatever. We won't pull the birds. That is okay. All right, let's go ham here. So this is a fight that a lot of people don't actually fully understand, which it's not really their fault that they don't. So the key really is just always get the hyenas trapped. So as the tank, like, try to get aggro on them and then kite them through it. As someone with something like Typhoon, I can even just hit them into it. So here comes the hyenas. I'll get some earlier threat on them, and I'll drag them into this first trap. Somebody stunned them, it looks like. I would have appreciated. Well, actually, yeah. So I'm gonna incap roar. I don't actually know if that stops there. All right, so I'm gonna try to kite them into this trap. So the key really is, it's kind of hard to explain when I'm doing this at the same time. But the hyenas, they do a bite randomly. And the bite is a stacking dot. And it will really shred people, including the tank. Get some early threat here. Get a taunt on that guy. I'm going to Typhoon these guys into these traps. Okay, so these hyenas do a bite, and they'll bite whoever is in melee range of them. So what you want is you want to get them trapped and then have everybody just outside of melee range of them, including the tank. And that way, if they try to bite anybody, there's nobody in range and they can't bite anybody. Let's go ahead and get some threat, and then let's try to drag them in. Okay, like, we don't need to be... So again, I'm just going to position so that they come into this trap. Not really sure what's going on there. So they're trapped again. And you want to keep them like somewhat close for cleave purposes, but you want to make sure nobody's within melee range of them. Anyways, that wasn't the best display of it, nor the best example. I mean, explanation. But in any case, just try to get them trapped as much as possible, and then if you want to be really advanced, when this guy starts his decay surge, I don't know, why is he? Someone needs to kick him so that I can stop it. There we go, this. So that one, okay, nice, somebody else got it. I was going to say we need to, nice, we're getting some good kicks here. I'm going to pull this War Scourge in. And bring them back so we can continue cleaving. I'm not going to use my kick on that because I need my kick ready for the fear off this guy. All right, getting ready to soothe this. All right, getting ready to kick his fear whenever that is. There it is. All right, we're good. I'll try to, I should have been fighting closer to that frozen orb. When you have a mage in your group, a frost mage specifically, you want to try to fight in their orbs and their blizzards as much as possible. At least their blizzard's on a low cooldown. If you move it out of the blizzard, not that big of a deal. They'll get it back up soon. But their orb, you definitely want to be fighting in it. So we're at 92%. Let's pull this guy into this guy. And it looks like I may have pulled this too. That's alright. Whatever. It is what it is. Incap roar that running surge. That running surge is just, that's where the goo spawns, and so getting less goo is obviously better. Withering Contagion, nothing you can do about Withering Contagion, it just needs to be disease dispelled. I'll kick that fear. So again, I'm just main targeting the War Scourge, and if people can kick those decaying surges as much as possible, it's just a damage bolt, so really not that important, but helps the healer. As soon as, all right, I think this is clear. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one now, and we're at 96%. I think we're gonna need, this might be it. Yeah, actually, let's see, 2.07%. Yeah, this is actually perfect. So we'll be good right after this. We're not going to have enough time to +2 this, but we will +1 it, so that's good. This has been pretty strong. I haven't even looked at what our DPS is like. Looks like our Feral might be slamming just from that one sample size. Yeah, that pull seemed to work well. It wasn't totally planned out or controlled by me, but I think somebody in the group did well to like get an early kick on the Decay Surge on the pack that was over here. Alright, here we go. Make sure you let everybody get into the arena before you pull. Healer's mana is good. Let's go ahead and pull. So make sure to face the this rot cloud away from the group, and then the little orb is going to spawn after that. Whenever Decay Strike is happening, try to have a cooldown popped. So on this fight, he's always going to summon his totem in the opposite side of the arena than he is currently standing in. So you want to try to bait it in a way that is going to be, try to move him a bit. Like I want it to be spawning like right behind the circle, so the circle is not going to be an issue for us while we're fighting it. While we're fighting the totem, sorry. So okay, now it's going to be another one of those rot burst cloud things. So I'm going to face it away from the group and then dodge it myself, and then pull him a little bit away from it so that the melee are less likely to, and then I'll pop a heal for this Decay Strike. I probably should have had Bark Skin active. Alright, so this, not an amazing totem position, but our burst is strong enough that we'll get through it. I should be positioning him a little bit better. Alright, so I'm going to try to get him so that we're going to spawn the next totem like just behind. Yeah, so there's a really good totem right there, literally just behind it. So we'd have plenty of time to kill it before the thing shows up, although it doesn't even matter in this case. And this is just rinse and repeat. Oh, yeah, so I did mess up there. Our group made sure to get out of it, so that was good. Let's make sure I'm baiting this in an okay spot. So that was slightly not great. You can see it's a little bit in the, would be tough for melee to get there right away. But at least it's clear now. Get ready to pop a defensive for this next Decay Strike. Here it is, pop a defensive, and then pop my self heal. And there's the totem. This totem was good. Just do as much damage and help the group as possible here. And I think I will innervate the healer just because, again, that's something I have not been doing a good job of here. But our healer seems to be a gamer, so we're all good on that front. Let's pop a defensive and a self heal for this Decay Strike. And here's the totem, pretty good totem. Thankfully the totem got nerfed, and so now the cast time is 7 seconds instead of 5. Alright, so Decay Strike here. I'll pop a defense or one of my trinkets and a self heal, and there's another totem. Really good totem placement. I've had one bad totem placement here, and then the rest have been pretty good. Oh, come on, kill it, kill it. Nice. Make sure I get out of that in time. Alright, here's the choking cloud again. That one was better. And it's going to have a Decay Strike, so I'll Bark Skin that, and then pop a self heal. And then baiting this totem. And we could just stay on the boss. I don't know. We'll see what the DPS want to do. Really won't matter either way. The boss dies at like 5%. Yeah, there. And that's it. GG. So that was a pretty good run. Our group was quite good. 170k from our Feral Druid. 136 and 112 from our other DPS. Did well. Let's look at healing done. So this is pretty typical. I mean, bears do a ton of self-healing and a decent amount of group healing with their after the wildfire. Let's check if I got Tree Mouth. I do want a 441 Tree Mouth, so if I got it, no, I did not get it, but I did get this, which Looks like it sells for a little bit. That's nice. Anybody get anything? They got rings with no tertiaries. The Feral Druid just said thanks for the carry despite him doing 170k deeps. So that went pretty well. Hopefully it wasn't too chaotic. I definitely could have done a better job of explaining a lot of important things there, and I could have done a better job of actually like practicing what I was preaching. You know, some of the mistakes I made there was on the pulls when there's 2 important interrupts, which was a lot of those pulls that I cannot CC any of them, so we literally need 2 different kicks on them. I should be marking one of them as skull and then main targeting the other one. An alternative to that is at the start of the dungeon, you ask if somebody can be responsible to always kick the fear. If you can trust that someone is always going to get the fear, then that lets you save your kicks for the withering bursts and like the Rotsinger's burst of decay. So those are the other 2 important ones. Really, the fear, I think it's called like heckling cowl or something like that. That's from the War Scourge, and it's always shortly after the Rage Storm ends. And then from the maybe they're called like a decay speaker or something. I guess I could bring it up in MDT. Can't type. All right, so MDT. Let's go to Brackenhide. At the start of Brackenhide. So there's the decay speaker. Yes, he does withering burst. So inflicts some amount of damage, and then it applies like it's quite a bit of damage, especially on 4 weeks. And then it applies a dot that can spread. So you definitely want to kick that when possible, especially if your group does not have a disease dispelled. Although we did, I think we had 2 if the pally was using it as well. And then what else do we have? There was like the Rotsingers. So where's those guys? There would be a Rotsinger. Maybe here is one. This is one that I skip. So a lot of times, I mean, hopefully this kind of makes sense, but this is the first boss. You come up here. A lot of groups will go left here, and they'll path up this way. I personally don't really like that way. It's a bit more chaotic. It's harder to have controlled pulls. Now, a lot of groups do it, so there's probably good reason for it. I'm not really sure what it is. I find that if I go right, I have a lot more success, and the pulls are a lot more reliable. Like, the pulls are always the same pulls that I do when I go to the right, whereas when groups go to the left, I find that there's a lot more extra stuff pulled on accident, or anyways, more chaos. But the whole reason we're here, the Fetid Rotsinger, they have Burst of Decay. It's very similar to the Withering Burst cast. I wonder if this even leaves a dot. Maybe this doesn't even leave the dot. Maybe it just does AoE damage around the target. But I feel like it does leave the dot, the disease. In any case, definitely a very important kick. And then there's also the Wild Oak, or Wilted Oaks, sorry, and they do the Necrotic Burst, or Breath, sorry, which is also a very important kick. Or your group can dodge it. You know, you see the breath coming, just don't be in its face. But a lot of people don't dodge it, myself included. I often just assume somebody's going to get the kick if it's not myself, and I don't really worry too much about trying to dodge it. And occasionally nobody kicks it, and it kills me, kills people in the group. So just more liable to kick it, especially when a lot of these pulls literally only have 2 kicks that are important. If your group can have like dedicated people, like one person is on the, one person's on the fear, one person's on the decay, then you could even have the fear person just default to being the oak person as well. So you have one person that's on fear and oak breath, one person that's on like the withering bursts and the decayed bursts. With just 2 people, you can lock down pretty much every single important kick, and then all the other people in the group can feel free to kick anything else that they want to kick, any like bolts, just to help the healer out, etc. And then of course there's this pull with the 2 wilted oaks, so just mark one of them as skull, or just confer with your group, and like if you're there, if it's a pug but you have one other person with you, then the 2 of you can kind of coordinate those kinds of things. Anything else important worth noting? So I used to prefer to main target Gash Tooth on the first boss. His Gash Frenzy was like super scary. Very difficult for healers, especially when they're not getting a whole lot of help from their DPS, like popping defensives and whatnot. to help them survive it. So I used to just say main target Gash Tooth, get him out of the way faster. The downside to that was that Gash Tooth, when he does two of his abilities, result in him like dashing around the room and fighting other people and stuff, and then it becomes harder to main target them because they're running around and like jumping around and stuff, especially for a melee DPS. You can't really continue to target them. The second issue is then people are less likely to be kicking Trick Totem because they're not main targeting Trick Totem. They have to be paying attention and using like a mouse over kick macro or something like that, or a focus macro, or just switching targets to kick things. So if you're just naturally targeting Trick Totem, then you'll have a lot more people ready to kick both the heal and the Earth Bolts. But the fact that Gash Tooth was so scary before just led me to say, let's just main target Gash Tooth, and I'll try to be on heal kick duty. But they nerfed earlier this week, or like 3 or 4 days ago, they nerfed Gash Tooth's Gash Frenzy by like 25%, so it's less of an issue. So main targeting Trick Totem is just a little bit easier, getting rid of him and hopefully killing him before the second totem even shows up. Pretty nice if you can do that. And then for the second boss, like I had mentioned, somebody needs to be AoE CCing those slimes whenever they start casting. Remember not to use your AoE CC until they start their cast. If you're not a bear, if you are a bear, you have both Typhoon and Incap Roar on 30-second cooldowns that will both work, and you can get it every single time all by yourself. You don't need any help from anybody else. Some other tanks might not be as lucky with those kinds of AoE CCs on those short of cooldowns, so you might need help from other people. You might need to use your kit a little bit differently. I even had War Stomp. I never need to use that. You could just try like manually kicking some. That way, if they do get off, if somebody fails to use their AoE CC, then at least fewer of them get off, I suppose. That is one where, as a pug, it might be tough to coordinate. Like, it's pretty simple if you're a warrior and you have, Shockwave, and then you have a priest and they have fear. The two of you can like just rotate back and forth who's getting which, and you could probably do it with the two of you. But if it's just you by yourself and you only have one of them, then you're kind of at the mercy of your pug group, and that's always an uncomfortable position to be in. Other than that, things seem to go pretty well. Hopefully that was decently informative and not too chaotic or boring. Thanks for watching.